What if I told you that some of the most important battles in history were won even before a single shot was fired? What if entire wars, governments, economies, even public opinion, could be manipulated through illusion? Because, in geopolitics, deception is not the exception. It's the rule. From fake armies in World War II, to Cold War nuclear bluffing, to modern cyber warfare and AI propaganda. The world's most powerful nations are constantly trying to shape not just reality, but your perception of reality. And today, with social media, deepfakes, and information warfare, deception may be becoming the most powerful weapon on Earth. More than 2,500 years ago, the Chinese strategist Sun Tzu wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." And honestly, not much has changed. Geopolitics is basically a giant global poker game. No country fully trusts another, nobody reveals all their cards, and everyone is trying to appear stronger, smarter, richer, or more dangerous than they really are. Sometimes, countries lie about their military strength, economic stability, technological progress, alliances, or even their intentions. Because, if you can manipulate what your enemy believes, you can manipulate what they do. And that can change history. One of the greatest deception operations happened during World War II. Before D-Day, the Allies faced a massive problem. Germany knew an invasion was coming, but they just didn't know where. So, the Allies created an entire fake army. Seriously. Fake tanks, fake radio transmissions, fake military camps, and even fake generals. They managed to convince Hitler that the invasion would happen at Pas de Calais instead of Normandy. And it worked. German troops were sent to the wrong place, while the real invasion took place in Normandy. Thousands of lives, and perhaps the outcome of the war itself, depended on the success of the deception. Which is honestly terrifying when you think about it. This shows that history isn't always decided by who has the biggest army. Sometimes, it's decided by who tells the most convincing lies. Then came the Cold War. And deception went nuclear. The United States and the Soviet Union spent decades trying to scare each other into submission. Both sides exaggerated their military strength. Both sides hid their weaknesses. Both sides tried to appear unstoppable. And, at one point, the Americans feared a so-called missile gap, the belief that the Soviets had vastly more nuclear missiles. But it turns out, the missile numbers were wildly exaggerated by the Soviets. But fear drove American policy anyway. Billions upon billions of dollars were spent by the United States because of perception rather than facts. Soviet deception was highly effective in keeping the US in a high state of alert for decades. And that's one of the key ideas in geopolitics. Power is not just about what you actually have, it's about what other people think you have. Nuclear deterrence itself depends on this. The goal is to make your enemy believe, if we attack, we die too, otherwise known as MAD, or mutually assured destruction. Even uncertainty becomes a weapon. Which brings us to one of the most sophisticated forms of deception ever invented. Strategic ambiguity. For instance, take the relationship between the United States, China, and Taiwan. America intentionally refuses to clearly say whether it would defend Taiwan militarily if China invaded. Why? Because uncertainty itself becomes strategy. If America promises to defend Taiwan no matter what, China gets angry. If America says it won't defend Taiwan, China may invade. So instead, Washington stays vague. So nobody knows exactly what would happen. And that uncertainty forces everyone to be cautious. It's geopolitical mind games on a global scale. And honestly, international politics is full of this stuff. So, instead of direct military confrontation, countries constantly send signals in the form of military exercises, diplomatic visits, sanctions, naval patrols, speeches, and leaks to the media. So, it becomes obvious that the message matters more than the action itself. But here's where things get really dangerous. The emergence of the internet changed deception forever. In the past, propaganda mostly came from governments or newspapers. Now, anyone with a smartphone can spread misinformation to millions. States can manipulate public opinion online using bots, fake accounts, cyber attacks, conspiracy theories, and algorithm-driven propaganda. Modern geopolitics is increasingly happening inside your phone, and social media platforms became the modern battlefields, not of tanks and drones, but for your attention. Countries now compete to shape narratives about wars, elections, pandemics, economics, and even cultural identity. The goal is often not to convince you of one specific truth, but to make you unsure what the truth even is, because confused societies are easier to manipulate and divided societies become weaker and more prone to propaganda. Today, we're entering a completely new era dominated by artificial intelligence. Deepfakes can already create fake videos of politicians saying things they never said. AI bots can flood social media with propaganda faster than humans can respond. Entire fake movements could eventually be generated online. Imagine a future where fake war footage sparks real conflict, stock markets crash because of AI-generated panic, or elections are influenced by perfectly targeted psychological manipulation. Honestly, we may be moving toward a world where seeing is no longer believing. And that changes everything, because democracy itself depends on a shared understanding of reality. If nobody knows what's real anymore, societies become unstable. But, here's the strange paradox. Deception can strengthen countries, while also destroying them from within. Because once governments normalize manipulation, people eventually stop trusting everything, including the media, politicians, experts, and institutions, even each other. And when trust collapses, society becomes fragmented. That may actually be one of the greatest geopolitical dangers of the 21st century. Not nuclear war, not invasion, but the collapse of shared reality itself. In geopolitics, deception is not a side effect of power. It is central to power. The countries that dominate the modern world are often the ones best able to shape narratives, manipulate perception, hide weakness, project strength, and influence what billions of people believe. And in the age of AI and information warfare, the most important battlefield may no longer be land, sea, or air. It may be the manipulation of the human mind itself. Because the defining geopolitical question of our time is no longer, who controls territory? But, who controls reality? If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more content on geopolitics, strategy, history, and global affairs. And remember, the most powerful weapon in history may not be the bomb. It may be the lie. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.